In this demonstration, I'll be using the free CPU-Z tool to view laptop motherboard details. The CPU-Z tool is free software. Here I've navigated to the CPUID.com site and I'm looking at the software available. I'm going to go ahead under CPU-Z and click on Windows. From here, I have the option of downloading the installer for the Windows variation of this specific tool. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the Setup English button to download the file now. And I'll click the Download Now button and I'll save it locally. After a moment, I can see the download has completed, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the executable to run it. I'm going to choose to run the installer. Now, depending on your machine, you might be prompted for an administrator password and so on before you're allowed to install software, if you're allowed at all. I'm going to accept the license agreement and then I'll click Next. I'll accept the default installation path and I'll click Next again. I'm going to keep going through a lot of these defaults. I'll accept them all to the point where I'm just going to click Install. Now, it's a small piece of software, so it doesn't take long for it to complete installation. I'm not going to view the README, I'll just click Finish. I'm going to go to my Start menu and I'm going to search for CPU to start the CPU-ID CPU-Z tool. And after a moment, the tool loads, although notice that we cannot maximize it. Notice too in the background it's created a desktop icon because I accepted the default installation items. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Main Board tab, which is really for the motherboard. And from here, we get information that we otherwise wouldn't see unless perhaps we actually opened up the laptop in this case. It's an Acer motherboard. I can see the model number. I can see the various chipsets on the motherboard. And I can even see information related to the BIOS, including the version and the date. And sometimes this can be very useful because if we do have a BIOS firmware update, we might want to apply it if it's got any fixes or new capabilities that we want to have in place. From the Tools option down below, I can also save this as an HTML or a text file report. I also have the option of checking for driver updates for any of the chipsets on the motherboard or even checking for BIOS updates.